Got a good one for you guys today. We finally have numbers on the Roush Supercharger for the 2024 and up Mustang. Bren Speed out of Indiana posted a video, and it's quite interesting. Let's compare this to the Whipple, and let's see which one might actually be better for you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the new Roush Supercharger that's on a 2024 Mustang. It looks amazing. They didn't do anything to this car, and I'll post a link to this video and the Whipple video in the description down below, but there isn't any octane booster, straight 93, no headers, so stock cats, no drive shaft, right? A lighter drive shaft, which mitigates some of the powertrain loss. None of that stuff. No funny play, no funny business whatsoever. Straight numbers, kit right on the car on pump 93, and it makes this. Watch this. It makes 693 rear wheel horsepower. Well, let's say 694. It's literally 0.07 off. 694 rear wheel horsepower on pump 93 at 751, and then the torque is 561 at 542. Now, my first initial guess was, knowing some of the Whipple numbers, I'm like, that torque seems kind of low, right? It seems kind of low. I'm like, I thought the TVS is supposed to make more torque. Well, they do run a couple more numbers, and let's go ahead and look at them. So you can just kind of see the gains over time. That is the stock power of the Mustang GT 405 at 680. That's actually pretty good for a stock car, but they're a little bit heavier than the last generations, so it kind of evens out at the end of the day. Then they did the first poll, but it went to 745, so it did 682, and it's pretty linear. Then the next poll, their highest poll, 751, 7,500, 10 RPMs, 693, and then the torque manages that as well, 557, and then 561, so that all makes sense. Now, again, I have to reiterate, and he reiterated, and it's even in the description, there's no funny business, there's no funny play here. There is one thing that's interesting, and I'll get to it right after we talk about the Whipple, because he does a Whipple too. So remember the numbers, 693, 561. Okay, now let's go to a Whipple car. So here's the thing. There's two different pulleys they're going to use, the base pulley and then the 3.75 pulley, which adds an extra pound or two of boost, I think, and it has Cook's high flow headers. So this is a stage 1, which is supposed to be technically equivalent to the Magnuson, even though the Magnuson's is a stage 2. They might come out with a stage 3. Magnuson might come out with a stage 3. So this is the stage 1. They've got, again, high flow Cook's headers, and they do a couple different pulleys. So they do the tests. Here's the first hit, 719 at 745. Okay, and then the torque is 564. That looks familiar, right? At 486. Okay, so let's go ahead and go a little bit farther and look at all the runs that they do. All right, so on the biggest pulley, 719 at 745, 564, which is literally right in line with the Magnuson, and then 583 and 734 with extra pound of boost, right? It has high flow Cook's headers. Headers add like 30 wheel horsepower. What I'm trying to say is that I firmly believe that Roush is gonna make more power. So let's go ahead and do this, right? Let's go ahead and do this. Look at this. 693, 719 Cook's headers. Add 30 wheel to that. That's 723. That's 723. Add Cook's high flow headers. That's 723. Now, would maybe add an extra 9? It's kind of close. They're almost on par, right? They're almost on par, because if you go up to 751 with 719, will it make an extra, what? Would it make an extra, that's about 10 horsepower? Would it make an extra 10? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. But you're seeing the comparisons here. They're almost the same if you threw high flow Cook's headers on the Mustang with the Magnuson. Now, if you look at the torque, it's a little small here, but let's see, 561, 564, but that's with headers. You add headers, that torque number is gonna go up. So it does look to be true that the torque will be higher on the TVS mod for mod. Mod for mod, the torque will be higher on the TVS. Mod for mod. Even though the torque comes in a little bit sooner on the Whipple, because I'm not a Whipple hater, okay? Giving them credit, their blower is super freaking efficient. It is very efficient. It's the best blower they've ever produced, 100%. Now, that's not to say that the Magnuson Roush Supercharger isn't the most efficient supercharger they ever made. I'm not saying that, but Whipple has really upped their game, and the torque comes in higher sooner than it does on the TVS Magnuson. But mod for mod, it will do more torque. So 561 versus 564. The 561 would be higher. Well, let's just I'm shooting low here, but even adding 9 foot-pounds of torque, which I'm sure headers would add more than 9 foot-pounds of torque, puts it at 570, and it's higher. So torque would be higher with long tube headers on the TVS, but horsepower would be around the same, if not higher. Actually, it'd be higher because, like I said, about 30 wheel. It can be more in some cases. 30 wheel to 693 is 723, which beats out the Whipple. Now, obviously, the Stage 2 Whipple with octane booster, with headers, because you want to have headers when you're supercharging, is going to do more than the Magnuson if they don't have a Stage 3. If Magnuson makes a Stage 3, then the Stage 3 Magnuson will pretty much be on par or maybe even better than the Stage 2 Whipple. So what I am most concerned about is why Whipple thought that, and they say this in an article and they say it to everyone, that the dual inlet design wasn't efficient enough to push a lot of power. I call baloney because I'm looking at it right here. Numbers don't lie. Sometimes they do. Sometimes numbers do lie, but in this case, these numbers don't lie, and they're not fudged. I don't know if there's any, I don't think they put any, Brenspeed put any octane booster in this, which a lot of the other dynos, they do. You put octane booster in the Roush Magnuson TVS, it's going to make more power too. So let's call out the baloney here, okay? This is really good comparisons between Stage 1 to Stage 2, technically, Magnuson, right? Honestly, I would call it the Stage 1 in my opinion. These are very good comparisons. The Magnuson blower does not suck. It does not suck. In mod for mod, they are on par with each other. And again, I'll reiterate it, if there's a Stage 3 Magnuson TVS coming with bigger injectors, because right now they only have 1000cc injectors, which surprises me. Those aren't very big. They can support what they're doing now, but throwing more boost, they probably won't support that. So, and a lot of people don't necessarily go any higher. You can make more power in other ways. Again, headers, maybe porting the throttle body or porting the supercharger or something like that. And you can add injectors down the road too when tuning opens up. So there is more potential, but if they're going to do a Stage 3, it's going to have to be bigger injectors. And maybe they even work out a better fuel pump. Maybe they do something like that. That'd be crazy. Offer for like extra $2,000, $12,000, bigger injectors, and they tune around with fuel pumps. How awesome would that be? So we're just gonna have to wait and see. That's being a little bit optimistic, but this just tells you right now that the Magnuson is not trash. It's really good, and these are the best numbers you're gonna get. These are gonna be the most reliable numbers you're gonna get, and someone who's not fudging anything. Now, I did fail to mention something. I said I was going to mention it after I talk about the Whipple. On this dyno, a lot of people don't know this, and I learned this from from the best tuner for the Hellcats, Tim Barth. I learned this. He has a super soft tire, like that's a Mickey Thompson ET Street R. He's got a soft tire compound that drags on the drums of the dyno, so the dyno would read lower. And you guys have probably watched Palm Beach Dyno. They throw on stock tires on the back, a hard tire, so the spinning and the grip and all that doesn't happen. The inertia, or not the inertia, the friction is not there as much on a hard tire. So these numbers would be higher if a stock tire was on there. These numbers would be higher if a stock tire was on it. So these numbers with a soft tire are really, really good, but they would be higher if they were on a hard tire. So I do believe on this test, he has a drag radial on there, but there's not a much give in this case because there's not that much sidewall. So these numbers make more sense and are close, if not spot on, with a stock hard tire dyno. So there you guys have it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Follow Brensbury, check out those videos. They're a really good performance shop in Indiana, and they make really good videos like this. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.